Welcome to a little introduction, a presentation on implementing a collaborative online training environment utilizing open source technology and open source techniques. First of all, let's have a look at the business requirement. What are we trying to do? In this case, the client has responsibility for medical training across the whole of Australia, from pre-vocational students through people going for professional qualifications, the vocational training, through to continuous professional education, those who have already qualified for professional membership, and how we maintain that. Key players then are this range of participants and also the professional colleges. The professional colleges define the domain of expertise. Another player is the Commonwealth Government in terms of quality and assurance. To add a touch more complexity, the program has to be delivered across the whole of a very geographically disparate country. Australia has all sorts of regions, and so the programs are delivered by 21 regional training providers. You can also see that there are state governments involved, state boundaries, and of course local government. Adding another touch of complexity to the stakeholders are the employers who employ trainees and registrars, the mentors and medical educators who assist them, and other stakeholders would include third-party training content providers. We have to create an environment that will support all of these people in a productive way. Something of a challenge. So how have we addressed this? The COMET environment has actually got a number of aspects in this implementation. This is the first implementation of the new environment. We've addressed improved focus of the site, the catalogue which presents the information, regional support, and the associated community capabilities, and related to that is education and creation of new material. The focus is the starting point. Everything derives from the focus, the design, the functionality. And so what the focus gives us is an understanding of what we're trying to do with the site, most important what's in and out of the high priority issues, who we're talking to, and this part here about the collaborative development, sharing and distribution of resources, and enhancing discoverability, accessibility and the sustainability of this community are very important key elements. So let's have a look at how we've addressed that. The improved catalogue is one of these aspects. Multiple access paths, providing search within an area, and providing access to related resources. So what do we mean by this? Well, multiple access paths for a start. You've all seen something like this, presumably a typical menu drill down. Underneath this is driven by a thesaurus, so that it's very extendable, it's dynamic, and we'll come back to the thesaurus in a minute because it means it gives us multiple new paths and the ability to relate metadata. Not obvious on the surface, but we'll move along and see more. For each piece of resource or course material listed in the catalogue, one can either execute it, and that's what the icon at the top here means, or go to more information about enrolling with that content provider. Not only is this usability, but it gives content providers motivation to be listed here, to appear in the catalogue, because even if you're not enrolled with them, one can go to find out more about them. It is great advertising and is very important for them to be listed here. So we can see that that actually supports existing content providers very well. When we drill down into a resource and look at more detail, we can see here that it's catalogued by a number of different keywords. These keywords can then be clicked on within the resource and take us back to the catalogue for the matching keyword. A very powerful technique to traverse to related resources quickly and to find other information, related information and related providers that a user might not be aware of normally. Improving accessibility also means that we have to provide search within area to narrow things down. In this example, we've looked for the topic aging within emergency care, so that we're getting those specific resources rather than all the resources across the site. On the surface this doesn't look important, but as you add new resources and harvest them from external sites and build a bigger community, being able to just search within a segment becomes essential in terms of usability to avoid being overwhelmed by the flood of information. Related resources I've mentioned a couple of times, they're really good, credible external resources that we should be able to provide to our users. To do that, we need to define the search to go out and harvest them through the web crawler, and we need to be able to link them back to the material that we're presenting through metadata and keywords. Here's an example, for instance, in women's health, that we can find anything related to it, or just from Health Insight, which is one of the health sites that's credible. To do that, we need to harvest them. So here we have a screen where we define the harvest control list, or the harvest starting point, depth and process, and what we're calling it. So we can go out to any credible resource we choose and harvest that. The other part of it is linking it back to the thesaurus structure. And here I said we'd get back to thesaurus. This is very exciting because we can create new branches of the thesaurus, including ones, for instance, for local government. Now, local governments support aged care facilities and a lot of other health facilities. We have our own health and aging thesaurus that we can link, that links to MESH, the standard international health thesaurus. So international research sites can be linked back. New branches can be created as required. Very, very powerful. And so you can go out, harvest them, and boom, if they've got metadata out there or keywords out there, they're automatically linked back into our structure. Not bad. So, link to thesaurus structure. Improving the catalogue by creating new access paths, traversing it, being able to narrow the search within an area, and being able to broaden the range of credible information by pulling in related resources. Very powerful. Improving the regional support is a critical business requirement. You can see from our distributed environment with these regional training providers that we have to support them. We provide them with community areas within the site. They have their own sites, and we can create discussion groups within and across them. We are also adding content at this surface level of support on rural and regional support initiatives, policy areas, and so on. And here in the quick reference listings, we can show things that are related to the regions. For example, who's in the medical board there, how do you contact the medical board, how do you get support as a rural or regional medical practitioner, and if you're looking at a job in the region, what's life like there, what's the economy, library, services, and so on. Very important, supporting material. And to finish that picture off, we have provided deeper linking access from the start. Because we can create such a depth of material, we need to take people in through some fast paths from the front page. Improve regional support. But there's more to it than just providing that content and that structure. These community tools, this community capability is essential. So the first is membership in secure areas, the community tools that enable community capability, and how we apply that within special interest groups as a key concept. Now, membership in secure areas, the first thing is a log-on. We have to be able to identify people. That's basic, but it's a requirement. Once logged on, we can assign multiple groups to people, and you can see here in this screen that's just come up, the blue areas in the menu are new access rights that I've got through logging on that have been granted to me through my group membership. And so that within the site, secure access areas can be created, communities can be created and protected. Let's have a look at more of those community tools. This page here, this poster sessions page from the conference is one we've created. I have the authorship rights to this, therefore I can add a blog, I can add a document, I can add a new page, and this is all out of the right hand menu that you can see over there. Just a natural part, really easy. Just click on it and boom, you've added a new page. Now, related to that is this important concept of an e-library, because we can upload resources, we can upload documents, videos, pictures, and if one is supporting a discussion group area, being able to upload policy documents or discussion documents, really important. Very easy. But there's another aspect to this. This gets its own access rights, but e-libraries from across the site and from special interest groups can be aggregated upwards, and they bring their access rights with them, so that you can aggregate information from across the whole site through with this technique here. Very powerful, brilliant idea, brilliant concept, very easy to implement. Discussion boards are important because if you are working together on a project, we use this concept all the time on our projects to bring people together, to have discussions, they can upload the files and so on. Very, very important to have it to be effective. And to complete the wiki functionality that you can see is actually built right into this and made very easy to use. There are tabs up the top, and in this case I have the access rights to edit the web page. Just click on that tab and it takes us to a very standard sort of editing environment that I think we're all familiar with. The standard icons and buttons, very easy to use, just make the changes, update it, and boom, it's done. It's that easy to create content. And that applies then to these special interest groups, that to create community areas within a regional training provider or in a special interest area is really simple, and it means that we can allocate out or distribute authorship rights and security rights. The administration of a special interest group area can be delegated. Very important if you're building a large community, particularly if it's distributed, or if there are specialist areas. Very good. And we're using that same technique obviously within regional training providers, for example. And the final missing piece that we think we've developed quite well here is the education creation capability. We need to support the existing content providers, obviously, and we've done that very well, I think. We need to add the ability to provide personal publishing, and I think you've seen some of that already. We'll go into that in slightly more detail, and to create new courses in a more formal, structured environment. I want to talk about creating your own personal content. Now this page here is one that I built using Google Notes. I took and clipped various credible scientific papers, put them together, wrote some commentary around it. Then I took that whole page out of Google Notes, having assembled it, clipped and pasted it, and boom, here it is, and it's published. That can be made accessible, if it's decided it's credible, can be made accessible to the whole community if required. For more formal courses like this, there's Moodle. Now Moodle, this isn't a Moodle training course, we'll do that, but it's a very important open source product for developing training material easily. I'll just give you a quick overview though of just how easy it is to build things. Now here we have put in again some of the videos from the conference, and we've just got a header here and you can see the icons for editing it. Let's go in, and it's the same standard editing interface. Put a header in there, and down the bottom you can see the description of the file name for the video clip. That's it, just put it in and boom, and it's uploaded. It has a lot more capability than that. It's brilliant in terms of developing questions, multi-choice, all sorts of different evaluations and creating discussion groups, but more on that later. So education creation. We've got very good support for the existing providers. but we can now extend that in terms of personal publishing and of new course creation capability for perhaps smaller organisations or independent organisations that wouldn't have even considered it before, but have real things of value to contribute to the community. So, in this first release we've got a defined focus. We've improved the catalogue. We've got improved regional support already built in, supporting that with community capabilities that we think are new and powerful, and the education creation supplementary capabilities for the existing colleges and content providers that we have in the community now. Now, you can't do this without a proven infrastructure. And as soon as we talk open source, people start to ask questions about reliability. Now, this has been used, for instance, in the Australian Local Government Association. 640 regional local government councils use Metanode and have their information aggregated and provided through a government connectivity gateway using Metanode. So the security models, the distributed editorial models have all been proven in practice. APEC has a copy of Metanode in each of the G7 capital cities, where they syndicate. There's content that they syndicate across all of those sites and keep in the sync. And the ITRG, the Internet Transaction Reference Group, which is a senior cross-departmental committee in the Commonwealth Government in Australia, trying to bring together the transactions, internet transactions across government, uses Metanode as the basis for their discussion groups. And I think I've talked before about how we in the Institute use it for our own projects. It's great to have that secure discussion area plus the ability to publish things externally. So it's a proven deployed infrastructure. And to do this over the sort of scale that we're talking, with commercial products, large-scale portals would typically cost between $200,000 and $1.2 million for the license fee. I mean, that can be argued, but we've even seen much higher figures, not many smaller. So on top of that, there would typically be the implementation costs of that, the design, the analysis, the content, and all of that is often without the learning management capability that we've also been able to deploy. So, why have we chosen the product set of Metanode and Moodle for this implementation? And one part of it is not just that it's proven, but also the license fee is nil. And it's 0 or nil because it's open source software. But on top of that, the Institute of Government Business has supported it, because open source for government, if it's able to do this sort of a project, almost becomes a no-brainer. Their aim is to support improved effectiveness and efficiency of government business processes, and utilising open source where it's appropriate, and we've demonstrated with this project that it works, is really an important technique. So we'll be doing more videos, I think, on this as a case study as we look at some of the analytical principles behind it and the deployment principles. So that's a quick overview of COMET. If you want to find out more about the software, you can go to metanode.net. It's open source. And if you want to find out more about some of the free tutorials and material that the Institute is providing for particularly aimed at government organisations, igbapa.com is the website there. If this is of value, please give us some feedback, because we plan to develop more material, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you.